In software development, writing the code is really only half the story. The other half? It's the language we use to talk about that code. So today, we're going to dive into some of those little details of technical English, the things that can make or break clarity, and honestly, what separates an amateur from a real professional. And this quote right here, it's a big one. It forces us to think about who we're writing code for. Yeah, sure, the computer needs to understand it, but way more importantly, other humans need to understand it. How we name things isn't just a style choice, it's a direct signal of our professionalism and how much we respect our team. So let's just take a second here and be honest. When you look at your own work, your code, the way you talk in meetings, your pull request comments, which side do you fall on? Let's break down a few key areas to make sure you're always on the side of professional clarity. Okay, let's kick things off with the very foundation, the grammar of our code. Because just like any spoken language, programming has rules that help us understand each other. And naming conventions are exactly that. They're the rules that let any developer anywhere in the world look at your code and get it almost instantly. So here they are, the big four you're going to see everywhere. Camel case, snake case, Pascal case, and kebab case. Now, you've probably seen them all, but just recognizing them isn't the point. The real key, the professional touch, is knowing exactly when and why to use each one. First up, we've got the famous camel case. If you work in JavaScript, this is your world. It's used for variables and functions. The first word is lowercase, and then every word after that gets a capital letter. Kind of like the humps on a camel. Simple and super effective. Then you've got snake underscore. You can't miss it with those underscores connecting all the words. If you've ever touched Python, you know this is basically the law of the land over there for variables and functions. Now, listen up because this one's a really important distinction. Pascal case. See how every single word starts with a capital letter? That's not just a style choice, it's a signal. You pretty much only use this for naming things like classes or major components. It's a visual cue that shouts, hey, I'm a major building block of this program. And last but not least, we have kebab case with the hyphens right through the middle. You're not really going to see this inside your main Java or Python code. This one lives more on the outside for things like URLs or naming your CSS files. It's absolutely essential for keeping your project structure clean and readable. All right, so let's shift gears. We've talked about writing code, but what about talking about it? Especially when you're trying to describe a user interface to a designer or a product manager. This is where precision is everything. One tiny, wrong preposition can cause a whole lot of confusion and wasted time. Oh man, this is such a classic. I bet we've all heard this or maybe even said it ourselves. The button is in the screen. It sounds close, right? But it's actually wrong, and it's exactly the kind of small mistake that leads to big misunderstandings. So how do we get it right? It's easy. Just remember 3 simple rules. First, use on when you're talking about a surface. A button is on the toolbar. Text is on the page. Second, use in when something is inside a container. The user's name is in the input field. The data is in the database. And finally, use at for a very specific point. The icon is at the top right corner. Nail these 3 and you'll eliminate so much confusion. Awesome. So we know how to name our code. We know how to describe our UIs. To really tie it all together, let's go over some essential vocabulary. Using these words correctly doesn't just make you sound smart, it shows you understand the concepts, and it builds instant credibility in any technical chat. First one up, deprecated. What does this mean? Think of it like a warning sign on your code. It's telling you, hey, this function still works right now, but it's on its way out. It's going to be removed soon, so you really need to find a new way to do this. Next, we have laggy. We've all felt this one. It's that awful, frustrating, slow motion feeling you get when an app just can't keep up. Clicks take forever to register, animations are choppy. That's a laggy interface, and it's a user experience killer. Scalable. This is a huge word in system design. A scalable system is one that can handle growth. So if your users suddenly go from 1,000 to 1 million, a scalable system doesn't crash and burn. It just handles it. That's the holy grail of good architecture. Ah, yes. Legacy code. Every experienced developer knows this pain. This is that really old code base that maybe nobody fully understands anymore. It's often a total nightmare to maintain, but you can't get rid of it because it's still absolutely critical to the business. And our final term is throughput. This sounds technical, but it's a pretty simple idea. It's just a metric for performance. It answers the question, how much work can this system get done in a set amount of time? Think requests per second or transactions per minute. The higher the throughput, the more efficient your system is. So as we wrap up, you probably see the pattern here, right? Naming conventions, the right prepositions, specific vocabulary, they all feel like small things. They're just details, but that's the whole point. It's all those little details added up together that build your reputation as a professional. At the end of the day, a professional signature isn't one single brilliant piece of code. It's built on consistent habits. It's consistent naming that makes code clear. It's precise language that prevents mistakes, and it's an impactful vocabulary that builds trust with your team. These are the things that make people confident in you and your work. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. We've gone over a few things today, but what do you think? What's another one of those small, maybe even overlooked details that you believe truly separates a real pro from everyone else in this field?